the fact that silver still hasn't passed its 1980 high is something that is amazing and totally absurd. So, gold and silver have just been rocketing, and I have Jeff Clark, the senior precious metals analyst from goldsilver.com, on the line with me. How are you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great, Mike. It's great to be joining up with you again, and you're sure right about that.
Yeah, I'm a little under the weather, actually. Otherwise, I would be celebrating. But I've been celebrating in bed, just a little sick. So you sent some articles through to me, and you know, I really do think that what we're witnessing here is the potential end of our current monetary system, the global dollar standard. So, what do you think is going on, Jeff?
Well, Mike, let me give you a little background, and then I'm going to ask you the question that is the number one question on the mind of almost every investor out there right now. And I'll see if you can guess what that question is once I give you this. So, year to date, believe it or not, gold is now up 35.7%.
Wow.
Silver is up 60% year to date. And this is at, prices as of about an hour ago here on Thursday. Silver was up 35% in July alone. Its best month, Mike, since November of 1979. And we all know what happened to gold and silver back then.
Wow.
Gold was up almost 11% in July, its best month since February of 2016. Gold is now up 8 consecutive months. The number one best performing asset on the year is silver. Number 2 is gold. And number 3 is the NASDAQ. So, Mike, the number one question on everybody's mind is probably pretty obvious. And that is there going to be a pullback anytime soon? When will the next pullback come, and what do we do about it?
Well, I was talking with Dan earlier. We were both talking with Dan, and basically all bets are off. We don't know what is going to happen with the world monetary system. We do know that the government will borrow at least another $2 trillion. So we're talking about a $4.5 trillion deficit this year. And when you look at the projected price of gold, you have to measure gold against the inflation of the currency supply. And then you have to measure silver against gold. And we're still at the gold-silver ratio right now is about 74. It was 122 just a couple of months ago. But, in 2011, it was at 40. And in 1980, it was at 14. And so silver's performance, it's up 60% and gold's up 30%. So it's double the performance of gold. I still think that there's a lot of room in that. But if people are interested in buying, I have no idea whether we're going to have a big pullback or, because the government really somehow needs to get a hold of gold and keep it from rising too much. If it rises past like $2,500, $3,000, I don't see it stopping before like $10,000 an ounce, because the big money isn't even here yet. The billionaires aren't buying yet. So what's your opinion?
That's a very good point. Some institutional investors are just now starting to come into the market.
Yeah.
The Silver Institute put a report out this morning that said the rise in the price of silver is in part due to the new investors, the new institutional investors that are coming into the sector. So, they're just getting started. And of course, they have literally tons of cash that could come into this sector. And on that topic, Mike, here's an article that says on MarketWatch, gold will top $3,000, sometime soon. Here's another article from Bank of America saying silver could hit $50 in the near term, whatever that may mean. So it doesn't necessarily answer the question of whether there's going to be a correction at one point or when it'll come. But there's a lot of bullish indicators out there, and with all the institutional cash that's on the side, that could really push things up. In my mind, does monetary policy change? Or are they going to stop printing currency? Your answer to that question kind of tells you where this is all headed, I think. So if you think monetary policy is going to change and they're going to stop printing currency and they'll start balancing their budgets, well, then maybe we are at a top. If you don't think those things are going to happen, that would probably signal that, we're going to keep going at least for a while.
Yeah. In my top 10 reasons I own gold and silver, one of the reasons was that they come with a central bank guarantee. The central bank absolutely guarantees you that they're not going to stop printing currency. That's the guarantee that gold and silver have, is that you have to measure this against the expansion of the currency supply, and they're never going to stop printing until they destroy the currency. That's they're trying to get out of a really bad situation, and the only tool they've got, they can't really lower interest rates. The only tool they've got is printing. What was there? There was one article that you sent where the Wall Street Journal, U.S. will borrow an estimated $2 trillion in the second half of 2020. And I think they're going to borrow that in this quarter, and then next quarter it's going to be even worse. But they're talking about a $4.5 trillion deficit. Gold has to react to that. And then silver has to react to gold.
Right. That's exactly right. I think that's what we're going to expect going forward here. Now, of course, there will be a correction at some point. When we don't know, how big we don't know. The way I personally handle it is I just dollar cost average. That's a very good method. Instead of trying to guess what the market's going to do or predict what the market's going to do, I just dollar cost average. Buy on dips. There's no magic formula. Yeah. There's no magic bullet to all of this, for a strategy, because no one really knows the future and what's going to happen. I think ultimately it's fair to say gold and silver are going much higher, but the idea, of when you buy is difficult to answer. And so dollar cost averaging really does work for someone who doesn't own gold and silver yet or doesn't own enough gold and silver.
Yes. We have been informing people on what's going on for more than a decade now. I've been doing this for 15 years. Actually, I started telling people about gold and silver back in 2002 and 2003. And people used to say, oh, gold's a lousy investment. It's been going down for 20 years. And I go, exactly, it's been going down for 20 years. Don't you get it? And I can't tell anybody. I never give advice. I just educate people on what is going on. And so I can't tell anybody to go and buy gold and silver at this point, or not buy it at this point. All bets are off, like Dan said. We're in a very, very crazy situation. It's just totally bizarre what is going on, and I fear for the average person. I've put myself in a pretty good position, and it's taken 15 years to do it. Yeah. So tell us about, the stocks are going down though, and stocks typically lead the metals. Am I correct?
So there's a debate on that in the technical world, but in a lot of cases, I think it's fair to say that the gold stocks will lead the metal down. And it is true that today, as we're talking here on Thursday, the gold stocks are selling off. They're almost all down across the board. And yet gold and silver are up strongly again, even soaring for silver. So, yeah. That's a curious development. Now it's only a one-day thing, so who knows, what implications that may have. but it is true they are falling on a day gold and silver are soaring, so that could portend a a reversal. And by the way, on that topic, Mike, I have to point out to you real quick. Silver is up 60% year to date. GDX, the gold miners ETF, is up 52%. So silver has actually outperformed the miners on a year-to-date basis. The miners they bring leverage to the gold and silver, and many have done well, but the index itself has actually underperformed silver. So someone who, feels like they missed out on getting in on the miners, well, you can own silver and have much less risk than by owning miners.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've been preaching for. I have a couple of silver exploration stocks, but I really don't have many stocks at all. I've got physical silver is my number one position. Number two is physical gold. Number three is some cryptocurrencies, and then a very minor position in these silver exploration companies. That where I was offered a private placement, and so took advantage of that before the stock was actually listed. So in studying this, though, if you take the Barron's Gold Mining Index, which is the one that goes back to before we came off of the Bretton Woods system, and you divide it by the price of gold, gold from 1971 to today has outperformed the Barron's Gold Mining Index by 800%. It's done 8 times better than the top tier gold producers in the world. And so when it goes up, when the stocks go up, they might go up twice whatever gold does, but when they fall, they'll fall 3 times. And so for me, I've just gone really for the physical. That's what I want to hold, and I don't want it in a COMEX vault. I want it. I have most of my metals at Brinks in Salt Lake City, and I've got some where I can get to it also. A location I won't divulge.
There you go.
So,
Very good. Mike, there's one more quick topic I want to throw out to you today before we end this video, and that's an article that was about the U.S. Mint claiming that they're making changes to meet the exploding demand for American gold and silver eagles. But all the articles that are written about this are saying that there's no way it's going to, they're going to be able to meet demand, even though they're increasing production. In fact, the U.S. Mint admitted that that output from them is going to be slower for the next 12 to 18 months. So for another year and a half, they're not going to be even at their normal level, let alone at a level that's going to be able to meet demand for American eagles, both silver and gold. Mike, do you think Unobtainium that you've talked about for many years could actually be starting now?
Well, the Mint since I've been purchasing, I started purchasing back. My first tube of gold eagles was purchased in October of 2002, and they've raised their premium. The seigniorage that the U.S. Mint charges has gone up several times since then, and what can solve this is price, the supply and demand, so they can make it unaffordium before it becomes unobtainium. So, but yeah, gold and silver. Right now, you're seeing an explosion in the premiums that are charged. I mean, it's very hard to source right now. I'm surprised that we've still got them. But there will come a day shortly where they're just not available. And the only way to make them available is through price. The price has to go way up, so the premiums are going to be huge. That's one of the things that I was sort of betting on when I purchased them, is that the premiums on the Silver Eagles, they're going to be charging $20 over spot or whatever. I just, The fact that silver still hasn't passed its 1980 high is something that is amazing and totally absurd, that we can keep on creating these paper notes that measure this real money. You know, you measure the real money with these paper notes, and we keep on printing them and printing them and printing them, and now they're going to run a $4.5 trillion deficit. And the fact that silver is still below its 1980 high is just totally insane. I do believe that we're headed for triple digit silver very shortly here. I have no idea when, but that's my feeling. I'm not recommending that anybody buy gold or silver or sell gold or silver right now. I'm sort of staying neutral on it because I have no idea what's going to happen. All bets are off at this point.
Right. In the near term, I think that's a very fair statement to make. In the long term, I'm on the same page with you. Definitely, gold and silver are definitely going much, much higher, thanks to what the Fed and other central bankers are doing around the world, and the fact that they don't have many tools left to deal with this. So, Mike, I think
it's really like episode 7 of Hidden Secrets of Money. That's what's happening right now, with an extra ingredient. So there are some terms that we can't say on YouTube without getting throttled. They limit how many views. They don't serve our stuff if we talk about certain things that are happening in the world right now. So, which is sad that people are self-censoring because of what's going on. It really is very sad. But I do think that we're going to see this combination of events that are happening right now lead to just, I think it's going to be spectacular prices. But really, it's how much does it buy? And you just wrote an article recently on the value of gold and silver versus the price of gold and silver. So the price really doesn't mean anything. How much of a single family median price home is an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver going to buy? How many shares of the stock market, the S&P or the Dow Jones? That's what's important. And I believe that gold and silver are still tremendously undervalued at this point. And I'm so glad that I had 15 years to take a position. Actually, it's more than that. It's 18 years since I first started buying. And I have basically dollar cost averaged in. And I have a pretty sizable position now. But for the people that want to know, should they buy? Well, I was saying where I thought gold and silver were going to go for the last, I wrote my book in 2005, 6, and 7, and it's still pertinent today. And by the way, people should go to goldsilver.com and download a free copy of it. And there's some things about, who are you and what's your plan? You need a plan, and you need to follow that plan if you're going to get involved in this. You don't want to be making decisions based on emotion. That's always those are the people that end up losing, are the ones that make decisions based on emotions, rash, sudden decisions. So anyway, yeah. What other things have you got here as far as the articles that you...
Well, that's it for the articles for today. We want to kind of keep the video nice and short so people watch to the end. So, Mike, thanks for joining us. And I think I speak for everyone. Feel better soon.
Okay, thanks. Yep, going back to bed now.